Welcome in to another episode of the 312 Blitz. I'm Gordo, and it is Monday, September 1st. Happy Labor Day to you guys. Happy last Monday without football, because this coming Thursday, regular season football takes off, and our beloved Chicago Bears are going to be back on Monday night against the dreaded Minnesota Vikings. So sit back, relax, let's dive in, and let's get caught up, because it's been about over a week since I've last talked with you guys. Sorry about that. I've missed y'all, but life happens, and but I'm back and better than ever, and it's time to get right down to business with the Bears. So last Tuesday, and the days following, the Bears finally set their 53-man roster, and they've also set the practice squad. They also designated players for IR, whether it was for the entire year or with an ability to return after the first 4 weeks or so. And right now, this is what we're looking at. Let's break it down. Most of this is a given on the offensive side. There was no question that Caleb, Tyson, and Case were going to be rounding out our quarterback room. One thing that was a surprise, though, is that we're only working with 3 running backs. DeAndre Swift, Calvin Nungai, and Roschon Johnson right now are the ones that are going to be ready week 1 against the Vikes. We also have it in the tight end room, Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland, Durham Smythe. There was no question about that. The wide receiver room, this is where the surprise happened. We have DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Olamide Zacchaeus, Luther Burden, Devin Duvernay, but the surprise here, Jahdae Walker, the preseason darling, the undrafted free agent this year, made the roster. He did everything in his power to play his way onto the roster. Congratulations to him. That also means that Tyler Scott did not make the team. Since he was cut, he was picked up to be placed on the Indianapolis Colts practice squad. So wishing him the best of luck. Hopefully greener pastures will benefit him. But that's your wide receiver room. And then we get to the next interesting part of the lineup here. We're taking 10 offensive linemen. I was thinking 9 to begin with. I didn't think Karan was going to make it just because we had better line play from the other guys. But right here, Braxton Jones, Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright. Yes, you know I went from right to left on that line. Then rounding it out, Ozzie Trapillo, Theo Benedette, Ryan Bates, Luke Newman, and then obviously Karan Amagaji, which goes to show you that the left tackle competition is far from over. Nobody has really gone out there and seized that position. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens week 1. I would say Braxton Jones is going to be starting, and I think he's going to be ready. I truly do. But I think Theo Benedette will be the next man up. I think he's hungry for it. He's talked about how he believes he should be a starter. So I think we're going to be okay there. And I'm very confident that Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle are going, and Dan Rochar, we can't forget about him as the line coach. You know darn well that they're going to have them ready to go, prepared, and you're going to probably see a lot of extra help from the wideouts and tight end, even running back, for extra blocking to get more time there, whether it's for a run play or a pass play. I think it's interesting that Ryan Bates, I originally had thought that Ryan Bates was not going to make it, but he had a good preseason. It sounds like he's healthy again. And Luke Newman, we already knew that he was, having a great season or preseason as well. So there's no question there. But 10 linemen to start off with. I wonder if this is going to continue to to stay like this all season, or if we're going to see some changes here and there. It also shows you that Ben Johnson might be bringing some of his creativity from Detroit down to Chicago, and the way he utilized linemen and even had them subbing in as offensive players. So I think we're going to see some interesting wrinkles here these first couple of weeks. So here's our projected defensive and special teams specialists going into week 1. No question here. Montez Sweat, Shamar Turner, Dio, Daniel Hardy made the list. Daniel had a pretty decent preseason as well. One of the reasons why he's on here is because Austin Booker is on IR right now. He'll be designated to return, I believe, week 4 or 5. Grady Jarrett, Dom Robb, Andrew Billings, Chris Williams, and Jervon Dexter round out your defensive lines. And I apologize for the error on the screen. That should say DL, not DE. Sorry, these are all defensive linemen here. We go over to the linebacking room. We already knew TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Noah Sewell, and Ruben Hippolyte were going to round out those top 4 linebackers. But because Amen Agbangbemiga is not healthy and ready to go, he's also on IR to return. They ended up picking up DeMarco Jackson, who is a linebacker out of New Orleans, who is very familiar with Dennis Allen and vice versa. Had some of his best playing under Dennis Allen. So they picked him up. Nice steal there. He primarily played special teams, which is what MN plays. So that's a nice pickup right there. Should be able to slot in there seamlessly. Maybe we'll even see the field on the defensive plays. We'll have to see. But there's your linebackers. Safety, no question here. Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, which, interesting enough here, is dinged up right now. Don't know what's going to happen, if he's going to start week 1 or not. But right now, definitely a question mark there. Jonathan Owens and Elijah Hicks. At cornerback, we got Jalen Johnson, Josh Blackwell, Kyler Gordon, Nashawn Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Nick McLeod, and we picked up Jalen Jones from the Arizona Cardinals. And yes, this is the same Jalen Jones that had previously played for the Bears. So this is a familiar player. And looks to be an intriguing signing to help provide some depth right now for the cornerback room. And then, no question here, Cairo Santos, Torrey Taylor, Scott Daly round out your specialty, your kicking specialists. Practice squad. So right now, this is what the practice squad is looking like. This is going to probably change, ebb and flow as the season goes on. But no questions here. A couple new additions that weren't on the roster during preseason. We'll get into that in a second. But wide receivers, we've got Maurice Alexander, Miles Boykin. And yes, these are going in alphabetical order. Running back Britton Brown, who had a pretty decent preseason. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets elevated at some point, if he can hang around. Somebody else doesn't snatch him up. Tight end Stephen Carlson. On the defensive line, Xavier Carlton. Howard Eccles. This was my guy going into training camp and preseason. I wanted to see some great things out of. Might still see that at some point. I think that he's got some serious growth potential coming up the pike. So I'd like to see if maybe he'll find his way onto the 53 man at some point. Trey Flowers at corner. Defensive lineman Jonathan Ford. Tight end, new guy that wasn't with us, but Ben Johnson and company must be seeing something in him. Nikola Kalinick. Cano Capassignon at defensive line. Also at defensive line, Jeremy Croma. Cornerback, Dante Manning. Offensive line, Jordan McFadden. Cornerback, Gervarius Owens, wideout J.P. Richardson, and on the offensive line, we've got Ricky Stromberg. We do have some players that did hit injured reserve. That'd be Austin Booker. Amen, we talked a little bit about already. Travis Homer. Those guys are designated to return here early in the season. Deion Hankins and Terrell Smith, unfortunately, are out for the season. So before we get into this next section, I think one of the great stories is definitely Jahdae Walker. Glad to see that he made the team. I think he's going to be great on special teams, and I think that they're going to probably dial up some creative plays for him to get some receptions there with the offense as well. But great story right there. Really excited for him. That was probably one of the biggest, but yet, it was a surprise, but it was kind of expected just the way he played. So, what do you think about the 53 man? Drop a comment below. Yes, you're going to be able to actually put in comments now. A little bit of a user error, had comments disabled, but rest assured, this next video, the one you're watching, you'll be able to add comments on. So, all right, let's get down to it. The Bears, do they still have some work to do this week? I believe they do. I wouldn't be surprised in the next day or two that you're going to see a defensive lineman side. They need another edge rusher because losing Austin Booker for those few weeks is going to be tough, and we don't know what Dingo is going to end up doing. We need to have another guy on the line, so I'd be very curious to see who might be coming in. I would like Zadarius Smith. I don't know if that's going to end up being a possibility. I know there's a couple other rumors out there. But as of right now, I would expect to see a lineman getting signed. The only thing that you have to watch out for, as of last week, the Bears cap is just over $1 million right now. So they're going to have to get creative in how they structure it. So that will probably have a lot to do with it as well. So injury report, who might not play on Monday? I think we've already kind of settled that. I think Brisker is probably the one that stands out that there could be a question mark on. I'm not really sure what'll happen there. Obviously, Elijah Hicks would move up. Jonathan Owens, they'd get more playing time. Or would we see a sneaky signing? Would we see a guy like Jabril Peppers, who was just released by the New England Patriots last week? Would he be brought in? Or would Shiloh Sanders? I haven't been keeping tabs, but that was one guy that just kind of hit my mind right there. But maybe they add to that room, or maybe we work with what they have, and it's next man up. So stay tuned on how that develops throughout the week. And yes, we've got to get down to business here. We got to talk about it. Micah Parsons, unfortunately, is a Green Bay poop Packer. Not a fan of that, but great for them that they are able to get a guy up there on the front line. They feel like they are able to contend for a Super Bowl. This is a great window for that team. But the cost is 2 first-round draft picks, 26 and 2026, 2027. They gave up Kenny Clark, who is a stalwart on the defensive line. So Flus down in Dallas is going to have a D tackle that is strong and is going to be able to help them up front on that side of the ball. But that was a pretty steep price. And then they signed him to a crazy contract where they've made him the highest paid non-quarterback player in the league in history. This guy is making more money than Patrick Mahomes by $1 million. He's going to be making $46 million this season. That is crazy. As much as I would have loved to see the Bears going out and try to take a swing, the price was too steep. And I know you guys probably remember this, but I remember it all too well. I was so stoked when Ryan Pace went out and got Khalil Mack. And we paid a price for years on that. Everybody says, oh, well, we at least got a second-round draft pick back. We paid the price in ones, and we also, that draft capital just killed us. And then at the same time, we signed him to an expensive contract. That really set us back. That was why we had to deal him. Right now, Ryan Poles does not see us being immediate Super Bowl contenders. He doesn't want to set this team back. He's being smart, whether we like it or not. We don't even know how healthy Micah Parsons is. I mean, we just today I was reading that he's getting injections in his back so he can play. So I mean, we don't know what he's going to look like on the field, especially since he spent most of the offseason not doing anything, especially in the preseason games. Didn't do a thing really, actually at all. Oh, he was holding out. Should we be concerned? I don't think so. I think Ben Johnson is going to be able to scheme something up. He's going to be able to I believe he's going to not completely neutralize Micah Parsons, but I think that they're going to do enough to take him out of being a complete X factor in the game when it's time for them to play. So I think other teams are going to have a hard time, but I trust Ben and company, especially once they see what the body of work is with Micah these first couple of games or so. They're going to be able to figure it out. And we kind of touched on it already. I think it would have set this team back. It would have been great to have another stud, especially one that could have played on opposite of Montez Sweat. Would have been a difference maker, but I don't think it would have been enough to really get us into the postseason and go far. Kind of like what we dealt with when it was, 2018 and so. And as always, beat Minnesota. It is football week. It is time to get ready. We've got the Monday night game. I'm stoked. I know you guys are all stoked. Later in the week, I'll give you my prediction on scores, and we'll talk stats and things like that. But we're getting ready. It's game week, people. So beat the Vikings. And guys, don't forget, like and subscribe below. Drop a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let me know what's on your mind. And we'll come back here in about another day or two. We'll keep this train rolling. But without further ado, I'm Gordo. And bear down as always, Chicago Bear fans. We'll see you.